Hello everybody, this is Namtox back for another episode of Factual Opinions, the only place to get the correct opinion on the state of video games. And today we're going to be taking a look at Star Wars Battlefront 2. Yes, everyone's heard of it, everyone knows about it. The Luke Spock controversy is all over the place. But I'm going to try to sidestep that stuff for now and just talk about the actual core game, because I feel like that discussion is not one that people are having too much. Now, the game is primarily composed of two major functions, the campaign and the multiplayer. Multiplayer is what you expect. If you played last year's game, it is more the same. You have a couple of different modes, like hero battles that were in the last game, but the rule set is changed for this one. And that's kind of what you'll find. A lot of these modes are the same, but the rules of how they work, how you score points, is all different. Galactic Assault and Starfighter Assault are the two standout modes. Starfighter Assault especially because it's probably the closest we're ever going to get to a brand new X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter. It's beautiful, it looks amazing. The maps, the visuals, the sound, everything about it is just stunning, and the controls are great. This is where you get to see a little bit of that Criterion, the creators of Burnout, one of the best game developers of all time, really had their hand in, because anytime you're in a ship, it's definitely the best feeling part of the game. Galactic Assault is similar to last year's game, except you get rid of the whole partner spawn system. Instead, everyone just kind of spawns in waves every time you die, and it kind of takes away from it in the long run, because not being able to control which squad you're in kind of makes it all feel like, it almost makes multiplayer feel like you're playing with bots. You know, the lack of voice chat, the lack of coordination. You know, if you're not playing with a friend, sometimes it can feel like you're playing with a bunch of AI, and it's just hard to shake that feeling. It's hard to really coordinate on a mass scale to try to counter certain teams and the strategies they're using, and it almost makes it feel like you're just not playing the game. And another feeling with that, because some people are not playing the game. So in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and this ties back to the loot boxes, you don't get more points for playing well in a match. In fact, a lot of people are now doing what is known as banding, and they're just basically starting a match, tying a rubber band around their analog sticks, and not doing anything, because those players get the same amount of credits as someone like me who is in ultra try-hard mode, killing a million enemy players and ships and capturing objectives. So it all just kind of feels like, what's the point? And I am really bummed out by that, because I actually have a lot of fun playing the game. Visually, it looks incredible. The map design is awesome. The classes are all very distinct, and I have a lot of fun with each one of them. The heroes are cool to bring in. It's just very impressive. But the thing is, it all just feels like you're at a museum of Star Wars, because you don't get more for putting in more effort. You know, you don't get more for being skillful or coordinating with your team. And the amount of players who are just either protesting it because of the loot boxes or rubber banding to get the same amount of credits, it all kind of feeds back into that terrible loot box system. Like I said, I don't even feel like it's that bad. I've earned a ton of in-game heroes and abilities just by playing the game, and I have not spent a dime at all. But the general flow and progression is still fundamentally broken, because it's based on that system. The controversy is just exaggerated because it is Star Wars. If you really wanted to be controversial about loot boxes, EA's Need for Speed, which was about, a week before this game, was actually way worse and way more prohibitive in how you play the game. But like I said, there's tons of articles covering the loot boxes. Just know that even like a player like me who is completely ignoring that controversy and just playing the game as it is and not spending money, I mean, you can't even spend money now if you tried, it still is there, because the very general progression of the game is just fundamentally flawed. Like I said, there's no reward for you getting good at the game or trying hard or playing well. And I feel like that's a shame, because more and more players and more servers are starting to rubber band and get the exact same reward as me, which makes me feel like, why do I bother playing the game? That's just how it is. Despite my fun with it, that's the feeling I turn away with now when I boot this game up and I play it for more than an hour. Now, on to the campaign. Now, there was not a campaign last time. There was a lot of controversy about that. DICE got a lot of heat, saying the game felt like a $60 multiplayer beta, whereas the campaign. And I will say they have brought an actual full-on campaign this time. You play as Iden Versio, who is a character they've made up for this game, but she is apparently canon. All this is official. This is all in the up and up, supposedly. And you follow Iden Versio, who's the head of Inferno Squad, and she works for the Imperial Forces. Now, it takes place after Episode 6, A New Hope, and, you know, between that and Episode 7, right at the fall of the Empire. And I will say, the first couple hours in this game, this campaign, I was pulled in. I was hooked. I was into the storyline, you know, a different perspective. You're not playing as the quote-unquote good guys, you know, the Rebel Alliance. You know, I was interested. I was into it. And then the plot starts to twist. It starts to turn. I'm not going to spoil it here. But major stuff happens. There's a major shift in the tone and the direction of the plot. And that's where I feel like Star Wars Boardroom 2 shows up. And DICE or Motive, whoever designed this campaign, wasn't allowed to tell their story. Now, there's some reviews online saying the storyline doesn't give a lot of depth to the plot twist or a lot of weight to it. And they're right, because right at that key moment when stuff starts to shift and perspectives start to change, instead of exploring that change, why it happened, why allegiances are changed, and why characters are changing their minds about the state of the world and their state of being and who they are as people, the game goes into, oh, what if we found a way for you to play as Leia? Or what if we did a level where you play as Han Solo? Or maybe throw some Lando in there. And those campaign missions are so painfully added in, either because they didn't have enough time to flesh out their campaign, or more likely because they were told, hey, it's a Star Wars game, play as the Star Wars. Yeah, we need you to play as all of the Star Wars. We need you know, how are they going to know they're playing a Star Wars game if you're not playing as Han Solo or Princess Leia? And it's just such a drag, because there is a moment where you play as a certain main character who's on the rebel side, but it's actually well done. It ties into the story. It ties directly into the plot and why it shifts the way it does. And I'm like, and it's also the first time you play as one of these heroes outside of Iden Versio, and it's like, okay, that's cool. It's like a standard mission. You play as a different person, but it all feeds back into the core story of Inferno Squad, of this main character and what's happening. So I didn't mind it. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool way to show you another side of the conflict. But then the next 4, I feel like, missions where you play as a Star Wars character, a hero from Star Wars, they're the most derivative, obvious, like, we're just going to think of a random reason to play as this person. And you do a bunch of those missions after this pivotal plot twist. So you don't ever get to really be on the side of Iden and Inferno Squad as they make this transition and these events happen around them. So you don't get to see their point of view. Like, months go by. You know, like, a lot of time in the game universe goes by. And it's like, oh, I played as Lando, Han Solo, and Leia. 3 characters who, for all intents and purposes, I know exactly what they're doing. I know what they're about. I know their stories. And on top of that, the missions they're in are just bland. They're like, I'm interested in Iden. I want to know what she's doing. How is this affecting her? How is it affecting Inferno Squad? How is her morale? Like, how is she feeling? And for as much as Star Wars likes to tackle those kinds of feelings and that sense of purpose and attitude, the campaign just rips it out of your hands to shove you in these bland missions where you're just playing as these heroes for about 22 or 25 minutes too long, and it just drags. And by the time it gets back around to Iden and you get to resolve the conflict, you just don't care, because she might as well just be another random character, because they switch off of her so much, and then they try to tie it back in the last, say, half hour of the campaign, but like, all the weight's gone. You had momentum, you crush it yourself with your poor design and your, I don't understand why they do it, but then you realize I do understand why they did it, because this is, you know, big boardroom, play as the fancy characters. You want people to say they played as their favorites, and I feel like that really, really interfered with the core of that campaign, and what could have been a really neat story just turns into half of a really neat story, and then I don't know, I'm supposed to care about her, I guess, but I mean, the game doesn't care about her because it switched off of her every time there is a lot of serious stuff happening. So why would I be invested in her? Why am I invested in this campaign? And it just kind of leaves you with a sour taste in your mouth. And there's going to be more campaign DLC added later. Fine. But I'm just not looking forward to it the same way I would be if the storyline was simply focused on Inferno Squad and their fall or their rise and all their ups and downs and all those kinds of things. But that's where I'm going to leave it. I still think it's worth seeing if you're a Star Wars fan. There's a bit of shallowness after the initial couple weeks. I mean, I've played for a while. I've unlocked most of the stuff you can unlock. I play well. I place highly. But even despite that, it just can't help feeling that there's something missing. That there's just something not there keeping me in the game for a super long period of time. And I'm just going to have to give Star Wars a 2 out of 5. That's my factual opinion. You know, it's nothing technical. Like I said, the game has all the elements there. And this is not really even about the loot boxes. It's just more of a general feeling of the gameplay. There's just nothing keeping me, you know, like there's nothing really grabbing me and forcing me to stay there and invest my time. And the campaign is just kind of a slap on the face to their own storyline and what they're trying to establish. So that's my factual opinion, 2 out of 5. My name is Namtox. If you like the review, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see all of you guys next time. Xeno week starts this week. I am getting ready for Xenoblade 2. I'll be doing a Xeno video every single day, so come back if you're interested. And I don't know, have a good weekend, everybody.